have just entered the casual conversations of the Uneducated Education Talk Show. I'm your host, Jay.
Thank you, Revolution.
We'll talk about lots of things, so join the conversation.
Thank you, Revolution.
Is y'all ready though?
We ready.
We ready.
All right. Here's the next. This is good. When you're dating someone or you have some potential suitors, are there certain questions that you should ask? Is there anything that's off limits? And then with that being said, ladies, are we out here looking up folks?
Absolutely.
Yes, we are.
Please share.
I'm looking at people.
Please share.
I'm learning that
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, background checks, marriage licenses. I need all of it because you're not about to be out here giving me one side of you and then you're a completely different person elsewhere. Like I need it all. Do we have mutual friends? Do you have mutual friends with their
exactly.
friends? Do we know how many people do we know in common? Is there somebody readily available that I can get to ask questions about you? It's a whole process. It's the whole thing.
I just need like a reference check. Like I may not even check you on it, but I'm gonna just see if you're gonna tell me the truth about it. And if you don't, that's just like a mental check. Like, okay, well, you lying. So
And it's so funny that you asked this question because, like I said, I'm new to this. But I've had my run-ins, and I was talking to her on our podcast about it. Like, how do you know? And I'm learning. Like, when is it like the question is not yet supposed to be asked at that moment? Is it a time frame to ask, like, have you been to jail? Do you have like more than one baby mom? Are you on like a, sex offenders list? Like, is this like, because I find myself asking these questions and then like they get an attitude as if like I offend them. And it's just like, and that's when she was like, oh, I do checks. And I'm just like,
So is there a time limit? Is there a too soon to ask those kind of questions?
that's what I want to know. Like, is this a second date question? Have you been to jail? Or can I ask first date? But I just noticed people get like offended sometimes. Like, really, you gonna ask me that? It's like, but I don't know you. Like, I need to know. And when I asked Nay, I was just like, she was like, girl, I'm always on the, what is that, the clerks of court?
yeah, the county clerk. It is public record.
See, that's interesting because I said earlier, I'm kind of a late bloomer, but I never did that. I don't. So my philosophy, I say this all the time to people. I will believe whatever you tell me until you give me a reason not to.
Oh, yes.
But I get that sometimes that's not reality, but I think because I give people the benefit of the doubt sometimes as to where I come from. I'm a very private person, but I'm a I say what I mean and mean what I say type of person. So I like to think that when you ask me a question, I tell you like that's the truth. When I ask you a question and you tell me, I'm gonna believe that you're telling me the truth until you give me a reason not to. So as far as the looking people up thing, I've never done that until like if you give me a reason to not believe something, then it'll make me curious about certain things. But before then, I never was. I'm like, why are you looking up people? Like I thought that, but I get it. I get it. I
think everybody lying until my spirit is moved that you're not. So I don't get that far. I think I scare a lot of people off because I'm like, you're lying. It's another lie. And it's like, I'm not. My spirit wasn't moved by what you said, so I don't know. But yeah.
Somewhere I shifted. Like before I was I'll believe anything you say. But then when people started lying, then that changed my outlook on how I interacted with other people, like going forward. So I definitely know I did a complete 180 on that mindset. Because in my mind now, it's like everything you say is full of shit until you get a reason.
Yes.
All of it.
Yes, that's me. That is so me.
I get it.
they say it comes off for me like I'm being naive or whatever, because someone will say something to me and they like, oh, they like you, or they this and that. It's like, I don't think so. And to me, it's like, you can say what you want all day, but until, like I said, I don't know, my spirit has not been moved. I'm not really listening or believing. So it's just like, whatever you say is just whatever you say at the moment. Or I can ask you, have you been to jail? But if you say no, I'm pretty much not going to trust you, because if you giving me these vibes, you've been there or you gonna go soon. So yeah.
Okay.
Sums up.
Well, damn.
So I'm just gonna back up.
Okay.
Go soon.
Going soon, right? Is you sending them there?
Look, did God say? I don't know. I don't know what is going on in my spirit. I'm led by that. So I don't know. It's just crazy. It's crazy out here in these streets.
This is
Single
fact.
life is no joke.
This is facts.
Okay.
This is facts. I have come to see that, but I still don't want to. I get that. I'm cautious, but I just, I just don't want to give up on humanity, and
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that is.
I'll do that as long as I can. I'm a now. Now, granted, I think I've been fucked over enough that I probably should venture a little more on the other side, but I'm just gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep hope alive.
God bless you.
On what other side?
Your side.
Welcome.
That is beautiful, and I am praying for you.
We gonna I'll keep you posted, let you know if that comes. All right.
Okay.
Let's move on. So the next question I have here, when you are dating and you find a person, you know what I'm saying, you feeling or whatever, should you hold back your feelings? Like, is there a certain point that you know what I'm saying, like maybe you gotta be hard, or you gotta put on this front or whatever? And with that, when you're dating someone, is there a certain amount of time before sex is introduced? What do you think?
We grown, okay?
That part.
There you
So I feel like whatever you feel in the moment, if you want, like, if you want to say you feeling, that person, why not? Like, the games is what irritates me. The sex part, we grown. If we feeling it, why not? Like, what's up with this waiting and all that? Like, I get it, okay? I get it. We want to, like, remain, like, I love myself, and I am being, but I love myself, and I want this tonight. So why hold off? What are we holding off for? What are we waiting for? So I just feel like at the end of the day, we are both adults. If we going in it, like you said, we being honest, we communicating, what are we waiting for? Especially if you're not ready, like she said, I'm not ready to be in a relationship right now. Honestly, I know there's nothing for me to give in a relationship right now, because I need to really focus and hone on myself. So I'm not even going to beat your ears up and say, like, yeah, I'm ready, I'm looking. No. But, like, why can't we be friends, and still have this connection? So we grown. Like, I just feel like we're two adults. Quit playing these games. If you want to do this, let's do it. That's it. That's my opinion.
Because I feel like if the person likes you, they're gonna like you regardless. So if you have sex with the person, or if you have sex, if they like you, they're gonna like you.
That part. Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, then they don't.
Yeah, you started it off right, Simone, when you said it. Like, we're grown now. I will say, like I mentioned before, I'm not too good to admit, like, you know what I'm saying, when I was wrong or did things differently, but I hella used to hold out, okay? Just because, again, I just had this, I never judged other people. I don't care how quickly you give it up. But for me, it was just something in my mind that we're not doing that when I first meet you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have a time frame, but it was just like, you got to work up to that. I mean, that was kind of, and in the long run, the only person I was really hurting was myself.
yourself.
Okay. So, but, so, you know what I'm saying? We grown. Whenever you feel it,
Conditioned to
you feel
think like we
differently.
should do that sometimes.
It just is what it is. We just being honest with ourselves, right? But you know what I'm saying? I've grown and I've changed my views and thoughts a little bit, which we're allowed to do. I've evolved. So I'm more of we grown. You know what I'm saying? But the other thing that I don't like, what people have said, like people have actually said this to me, and this is why I wanted to get y'all's feedback on the holding back feelings part. So not saying you meeting somebody, you ain't talking about, you know, you in love and you like that shit's crazy. But if you like somebody and you feeling them, like if I'm feeling you, I'm going to tell you that. Like, I don't want you to have to guess. But a lot of people say I'm too nice, or I find that guys gravitate more toward females that like kind of dog them or are not nice to them, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, play a game with them. I don't understand that. I'm not a part of that world. It's not my thing. I think it's stupid. So say what you mean what you say. It all goes back to that again. Like, I keep coming back to that, but I don't think that you should have to hold back. You know what I'm saying? If you feeling somebody, or you know what I'm saying, not feeling them, or if you want to have sex or you don't want to have sex. Sometimes you might like a person, but you just not feeling that particular connection. So you might want to wait. But I wanted to know what the people was thinking.
If for me, that question is kind of tricky, because I believe that, you know, if you feel like having sex on the first night, do it. Hey, get it in. I mean, and I have no space to judge anyone, because, confession, I lost my virginity on the first date. And so at the end of the day, I can't make the judgment, but knowing who I am as a person, I'll slip and dip into some feelings real quick.
That's real.
Why I'm not a big casual sex person. It's like, in my mind, I'm a hoe, but in reality, it's like, nope, you're not. That's not you, boo. And so I'm leaving it for other people. But then, even on the feeling side of it, my fear with that is, if I'm feeling somebody and they don't feel the same way, I know I'm going to take that rejection personally. Like, that's going to hit me in a different way. So for me, I'm like, I need to kind of gauge where you are first before I say where I am.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Like that.
Like, I just know who I am, and I know I'm a very emotional person. And so that level, that rejection is what always kind of throws me for a loop.
That's fair.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I have like issues of my own. Y'all got issues, but I have a hard time trusting people. As you can see, I look people up, but I have a hard time trusting people. So I usually wait a little bit and I'm just try to feel them out some more. And then, like, I guess go from there with the vibe. And I'm like you, like, I catch feelings quick. I know that. It's pretty garbage. It gets on my nerves. I get on my own nerves.
Agreed. Same thing.
Like, why I gotta be like that?
But let me ask you a question though. With that being said, and this is really going to break off into a whole other topic, but just to kind of touch on it a little bit. So what you just said, you catch feelings quick, but we had a post about this actually. And so if we have choices out here, okay, there's feelings, there's lust, and there's all of that. But is there anything wrong with catching feelings quick? Like, okay, if they're not mutual, I get it, because no one wants to get their feelings hurt. But if I am interacting with a person, clearly there's something about you that I'm liking. So I'm choosing to open myself up to this. So yeah, the more that I interact with you, the more that I'm around you, I'm going to feel more for you. If we're just fucking around, again, that is what it is. But if you're somebody that I'm looking at dating, every time we interact, I'm going to see a little bit more like, okay, I mental note, I like this, I like that, I like that. You're going to have quicker feelings, or they're going to manifest themselves. Like, you say it like it's a negative thing. I'm just saying, I don't think that's a negative thing, but I get it if you don't know if the other person is on the same page. But again, that's that communication. And sometimes with people, they're not honest with themselves. Like, you seem like you're honest, but it seems to me to be the guys that are honest with themselves. Listen,
Yes.
Listen, if we
Yeah.
talking in casual conversation, you know I like you.
Right.
That's because
Right.
dudes will do everything like relation that looks like a relationship, but still will say, "Oh, that's not my girl. That's not
okay.
my you introduced me to your whole mama. I done been to 3 family reunions. We done been to church together. We've been on dates. We up talking on the phone till 2 a.m. and then here you come. Your ass talking about we not in a relationship. Well, then maybe we should stop doing relationship shit.
Okay.
That
That part.
It's aggravating.
Ah,
Yeah.
That part.
Stressful.
I just feel like, cause like I feel like I know when I know. Like if I catch that vibe and like we cool, we vibing, everything's fine. I know when I know. So I do fall quick, and I only get annoyed with myself because of these people out here and they be playing games. Like, why are we doing all this if you're not feeling it? You could just be honest and cut this off.
listen.
You're the total opposite.
Listen,
You give
okay.
me a
I think
scratch.
I can run the be the president of the club of niggas saying shit that ain't true. Okay. I don't need you. Listen. Let me just put this out there. I am not cocky, but confident. I love all of this. Okay. So I don't need you to gas me up. I don't need you to be here because you think I want you here. You feel so these dudes out here, it's like, listen, you want my time or you don't. You want a little bit.
Okay.
Just say that shit.
Okay.
But I think I can be the queen of I done seen some shit. Oh.
Yeah.
I just, you know what I'm saying? I know we all have, but this shit don't make no sense. That's like the bottom line. It just don't make no sense. It should not be that way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
let's move on. Okay. Now I know y'all mentioned y'all don't have no kids, but this is a question that I hear all the time. So if you dating somebody, is there a certain amount of time that you should wait before you introduce them to your kids? Like, what's your thoughts and opinions if you did have kids? Don't everybody talk. Let me, I'll go first. I got children. Okay, I got children. And while this does not apply to me, because you know, mine are grown. I do not think I get both sides of the argument, but my thing is, because my kids mean so much to me, and their happiness, even though this is my life, their happiness has a little bit, and then that's a whole nother topic, because depending on how old your kids are, you ain't got to like the nigga I'm laying with, okay? But I understand. So if I'm dating somebody, why not? It's not like, oh, I want you to meet my kids. But if there's a situation where, you know what I'm saying, oh, well, they'll be there, or, you know, you'll stop by to pick me up and the kids will be, you know, can interact, that's fine. Because for me, why not go ahead and get that out the way? Like, this dude might not really even like my kids. Now, if my kids don't like him, and if he don't like my kids, there's an issue there. So I just think that there's not a time frame. That's just my personal opinion. Anybody else got opinions on that?
I think it's like, I don't think there's really like a standard. I think it's like a per person type of deal.
I feel it. And then there's there's also the subject of when you introduce them, or if it's something that's still kind of fresh. Again, you ain't got to go putting your business out there. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to be mommy's boyfriend or her man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could just be a friend. Like, y'all have friends, right?
Because
introduce
six-year-olds don't need 15 uncles.
Right.
Like,
I was just about to say that.
we don't need
Right.
That's funny, because I was never gonna say uncle. I hate that. And then y'all ain't dating anymore. And then, you know, you see him out. That ain't your uncle no more. That's how it works.
Yeah,
Okay,
like explain
that
that.
part.
Raggedy. That's raggedy. All right. Let's keep it moving. So if you're in a relationship and it doesn't work out, is there a certain amount of time? And I think, and this question I never even thought about, but Sabone and Lene, I actually got this from your guys' podcast, and it was a great topic that you were talking about. So is there a time frame that you should wait in between relationships?
I feel like it's also like per person, per relationship. But I feel like if it's like a longer relationship, I would wait at least a year. Cause like I don't know, like I just feel like you spend so much time and energy pouring into another person that you kind of naturally start to lose yourself a little bit. Not like all of you, of course, but I just feel like most of your energy is going into that person. It just sort of happens. And I think that you yourself deserve that time to pour it back into you as a person and just really build yourself up and like rediscover you as you are now.
That is
Yeah, I agree that it's definitely like a personal thing, but the only thing I will say is like you have to take time to grieve that relationship. And however long it takes you to grieve that relationship is totally up to you and the work that you put into the grieving process. But you literally have to grieve, sometimes like grieve that person like they're dead. Because at the end of the day, they're no longer a part of your life. And so you have to go through all of the emotions, feel all of the things. Now, however long that takes, that's up to you. So I don't think there's a set time frame, but I do think it's necessary to like kind of reprogram to make sure that you're okay with not being in this relationship so that you don't take it into anything else.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sabone. What you got?
So, okay, I have a few questions. Only because, okay, so a little thing on me. I've been in a relationship, I was in a relationship for 14 years. Since I was 16, I am 31. 16, 17, I'm 31. And so, as you can see, I've never had the chance to do me, date and things like that. I've been in these streets. And, so, and it's not as if I'm trying to get have a relationship, like I'm over that at this point. But the question was like, she's like always being like, take time, take about a year, learn yourself, know yourself. And it's like, but right now I don't know what I want. Why can't I go out and try things to actually figure it out? And when you said like you have to grieve the relationship, what does grieving look like? Like sitting in the house, like I feel like I've had the crying moments, I've had the sad moments, and then you have the anger, and then now you're having the fun, and you're meeting new people and things like that. Like, is that all tied into grieving, or like grieving? When do you know? Like, I'm cool. Like, I just want to. When is that over? Was it realistic to actually be over it sooner? Or is that just like a lie you tell yourself to think that you're doing good? I don't know.
I too was in a very, very, very long relationship. Okay. And when it ended, like you said, just not, I didn't feel like I lost myself, but when you're in a committed relationship, you give a little bit and the other person gives a little bit. So it's not just always what you like and what you want. So for me, I took years, 5 years really, before I felt like I was ready to start dating, because I did need that time to figure out what I wanted and what I liked. Now it's different for everybody, because I knew I was ready because I gave myself all that time. When you find somebody else, sometimes it's not figuring out what you like. It could just be filling a void, and it may feel like it's what you like, or it may feel like you're over the other person. But for me, that I don't know that I'm healed yet. So I don't know that there's a specific time frame, but when I got to the point to where I was comfortable with myself and I never thought about another person, then I knew I was good. And then when I started meeting people, then I was open. So I think it's a feeling maybe, but if you don't give yourself the time where there's nobody else there, if you've been in a long relationship to where everything that you do is just centered around yourself, because you know what you like when there's nobody else around, in my opinion. And another thing that you all talked about in your podcast is, Lene, I think you had mentioned it, like if it was a shorter relationship, you know, it's like, what do you have to get over? But I had probably one of the shortest relationships in history. And that shit took me a minute.
Yeah.
It was weird as fuck. It took me a minute because I went into it like I do everything, and I don't regret the way that I did things, because I did me. You know, you get out there, you put yourself out there, and you know, the other person seemed to be on the same page, and turned out that it wasn't. So it kind of hit, you know what I'm saying? That hit a little different. So it took me a little bit longer than I thought. Like I thought I'd just be like, oh, that, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't.
Yeah. I had a relationship. It was only 9 months, and like they just decided to up and leave. Like everything was cool one day, and apparently it wasn't. But they didn't tell me, and then they just up and left. And I was like, okay. So like that literally took me 3 years to get over, and not even like just to get over, but like to get over it, and then like, you know, start doing that self work and really just figuring stuff out.
I feel like what we sometimes don't talk about though is being in that relationship and already knowing it's over a long time ago, but staying there because of the comfort, you know, that you have, or the security that you have. So when I say like, was it okay? Like, how long do I grieve it? Because to be honest, I've grieved it while I was in it, if that makes sense. You know, so it's just now getting comfortable with not having the presence before it ended.
Well, that adds a new layer then.
And I think we don't talk about that. I think people don't really register that part. You know, sometimes you in a relationship, but you really ain't in one.
Well, that's interesting. And we can come back if anyone else has more thoughts about how long you wait. But it's funny that you say that, because you led into my next question, was when should you end a relationship? Like that was like good. I couldn't have planned that better myself. Because that's true. And you said a lot of people don't talk about that. And there's two sides to that for me, though. There's the side that you brought up, which, yeah, sometimes people stay in these relationships for the sake of saying that they in a relationship and that shit ain't worth it, okay? There's that part of it. But then I feel like, give me that old school love, okay? Because nothing out here is perfect. You're going to disagree. You got to go through some trials and tribulations. You don't even know. This is what I tell people. This is what builds character, and this is how you know a person. When shit is all good and we ain't had a disagreement, you don't know who that person is. You disagree, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you throw low blows, if you like to hit below the belt, or if we gonna disagree in love. You don't know that until shit ain't on the same page. So you gotta have some bumps in the road so you can figure out what that person is about. And people in relationships before they even get through that part. You know what I'm saying? I give me that old school shit all day long, okay?
So this is why I said I don't think I'm ready for relationships, because the minute I feel miserable, I'm out. Like I don't want to. I'm not doing that extra stuff. I'm just not. If I feel like I don't want to be around you and you get on my nerves and like it's a lot for me to come to be in your presence, I'm not working nothing out. That I see. Kind of obsessed over these long-term relationships and friendships that sometimes, like when the stuff is over, it's over. Like we should be okay when it's with shorter relationships. Like if the shit lasts a year, fine. If the shit's over, let it go. You know what I mean? So we drag this stuff out longer than they need to, and we're just sitting there miserable as hell, like we don't want to be there. You know, and that's because we're like, oh well, I want to be married for 50 years or whatever, and your shit been over at year 5. You know, like, let it go. You know. Like,
I think to get to a point where you're actually miserable, like that person's presence just really pisses you off, that you're right. Miserable is a good time to cut off. Like, I think just so people, we live in cutoff culture. And so the moment you have an argument with somebody or whatever, it's like, oh, F them, I'm not doing this no more, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, he just left the toilet seat up. So upset at the person. Like if you don't see yourself getting past the argument, then that's a cause for concern. But if it's some stuff that you might not even remember why you were arguing 5 days from now, then it's like, okay, maybe
Yeah.
it's time to reevaluate some things internally, so that way you guys can get back on the same page. Not necessarily cause for breakup, but just
Right.
a little reassessment.
And
But I guess
agree.
for me too,
If you walk
because
in the door and I instantly get pissed off, it might just be time
that's
to go.
exactly.
and it's so crazy because like what Jay was saying, that's the ideal of what I would want. I have married friends, and hearing the stories, like I guess when I first was going through my breakup, of course, you know, a lot of people rooted for the relationship, but listening to a lot of my married couple friends and the things that they've been through, you would be like, wow. And then knowing, like, my question was always, well, if you don't have those trials or, you know, those moments in your relationship to where it's like, how did y'all get through that? And then you see them now and it's like they are best friends, like they are like so happy, they are like on this whole different type of adventure. And it's just like you question yourself, like, well, was it like, did you give up or did you not give, like, you know? And then I have married couple friends who are like, hey, we had to take about a year apart, regardless of what goes on. Not just anything, of course, but it's not that just give up, you know. But then it's like, when do you really know, like, okay, it's time to do that? Like,
Yeah.
But I think again, this goes back to communicating and understanding one another, because like, so for me, inside of a relationship, you got those deal breakers. Okay, so you establish those deal breakers in the beginning. You know, this is what is just unacceptable. This is not going to be tolerated. Here's these things. Okay, anything short of this, we can work out. But people out here is different, because if I know that everything that you do is in love and your intentions are, you know, in the right place, if we're arguing it, or if you're always aiming to not make me happy, that's the wrong word to put, but if you're always looking to add to my happiness and I'm looking to add to yours, and there shouldn't be much that we're going to do that is going to be that hurtful to the other person. So we should be able to work through things, but that's the problem, is most people get into stuff and they're selfish. Like when you're by yourself, that's your time to be selfish. It's I, it's what I want, it's all about me. But when you put yourself in a position to be joined with another person and be in a relationship, you got to learn how to share, and you got to be thoughtful. So if you're always thinking of that other person and your intentions are always pure, then there shouldn't be anything too bad, you know, that happens. No, shit happens. You know, people cheat or whatever, but maybe, hopefully not. But you have to establish what is okay and what you can work through in your relationship. And I think that, again, people don't have those talks. You want to wait until shit hit the fan to talk about it. No, let's talk about it now while we're civil and everything is good, because I want to know your thoughts on it. People don't spend enough time talking in the beginning. Everything is sexual, number one. Everything is about fucking feelings, and a relationship is about more than feelings. Like when shit gets hard, I have to want to choose to walk in the door and come home to you every day, or to pick up the phone and call and talk to you every day. When I no longer want to do that, one, there should be a conversation. Okay, this shit ain't working out. The bone. Okay, when you end a relationship, because sometimes if you're a good person, you might doubt yourself and say, hey, you know, did I really try as hard? Could I have? But shit, you know when enough is enough. And sometimes even when we know enough is enough, we're at that point, but we still trying to make it work. Sometimes that's when the other person will do that shit for you. They will pull the plug for you. And it shit hurts because it wasn't you that did it.
okay.
Amen.
But
She is talking that talk.
I'm also not willing to participate in struggle love either.
Girl, that's what I've learned. High five.
Because I'm not doing that. And so, you know, in that instance, I would have to look at myself and be like,
love.
You have
Can we
lost
get a definition of struggle love?
So struggle love is, I think there might be different versions of struggle love, but what I see it as is like, You ever see men talk about like how they want a woman to essentially be their mother? Like they want them to help build them up, and they want to, like, we've never slept in a car, and we've never had to eat, I don't know, top ramen for a week and a half, and like just shit like that that you intentionally walk into knowing that your significant other is not where you need them to be. But as a woman, you tend to like go in and be like, oh, I'm going to fix this person. And so then it's like dumbass situation after dumbass situation. And in his mind, he's like, oh, she's not down for me. It's like, I'm not doing that shit either. I'm not. And so if I'm not about to, I guess what it comes down to is I'm not about to prove how much I love you by taking on unnecessary shit. Like, I'm not about to prove that to you. You
talking that talk, okay?
Do this with me, or you don't. And if that's the case, then you need to go find somebody who's willing to do that shit, because it's not her.
Okay, sis.
We're gonna go ahead and pass the collection plate around.
Okay.
AC over there. Okay. Hit on a really good point. And you get with somebody and y'all getting together straight out of high school. Y'all gonna struggle. Y'all gonna struggle together because y'all on the same page. To me, that's okay. If you're on the same, you know, that's different. But if you out here grown in these streets, and this goes back to what we said, AC, when we first started. We talked about how sometimes it's the women that sit back and figure out how to better themselves and how to be, you know what I'm saying, how to bring more to the table when you join with another person. And sometimes you have these dudes out here, like I said, it's not all about feelings. It takes more than some feelings. And what was the Michelle, what was your deal breaker? You got to be motivated. Like if you ain't doing some shit, if you can't do some shit, we got a problem. So that struggle left thing is real, because, but I'm a speak out here for the men too, because it be some women. I don't understand why people period accept it. You know, I don't know why women are automatically looking for a man to take care of them. Like, you bring absolutely nothing to the table, minus the fact that you got a fat ass. Like, but you want this man to pay your bills, to pick you up, to take you out and do all this other stuff, but you're not offering anything. And the same goes for women. Like, you got to meet me somewhere. Like, do you have to be where I am? Not necessarily, because I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to necessarily be where I am, but you got to meet me somewhere. Like, we got to be on the same highway.
I'm gonna make this real simple, and this is probably why I hate this movie so much. Baby Boy, to me, is the struggle of, and I effing hate that movie. I hate it.
You will find a way to tell the people that you hate Baby Boy.
No matter where I am. No matter what platform it is. We can be in church, and I'll tell you how much I hate Baby Boy.
You will make it relevant. I get it. Listen, I don't dislike the movie, you know what I'm saying, the way you do, but, you know, I get it. I get it.
Jody's sorry ass. But go ahead. Go ahead.
There's a lot of Jodys, too.
Now, we going to leave Jody alone, okay? We're going to leave Jody alone. And so this question, dating apps.
Oh, I'm over it.
So I tried them. I have tried them, but everybody's ugly. And then all the people that like me are white men. They're like old white men that like me, and I'm not doing no. It is a struggle here. Like, it is a serious struggle here in Pittsburgh trying to navigate these men. And I'm telling you now, every single one that comes across my screen, I'm swiping on, because they're not attractive at all. They look dusty. They look like they don't do nothing but smoke all day. And I'm not being mean, because I can, you know, I got to check myself sometimes, but this is what they look like.
But you don't even call them dating apps. You just call them hookups, because it's like you be someone come in your inbox just one time, and it's just like, show me, spread it all, and show me what you got. Like,
You know, Christian
favorite color. Huh. And I feel like people try to be the worst. Them be the worst ones.
The worst one.
Oh.
the ones that know
The worst one.
Okay.
I feel like people put on
is fine too.
Like, I feel like if I meet you just off the whim, like I just meet you, you're more likely to show me like the genuine you versus me going on a dating app and you putting on like this image of what you feel like is going to get you a hookup or
Your
get you a
best photo.
girlfriend or, you know, whatever.
I have so many friends that are now married that met on a dating app. And then here's my philosophy. Like, I wish that dating apps weren't necessary because I love the old-fashioned way of, you know what I'm saying, meeting people. Like, you see somebody out, you got to work up the courage to, you know, everybody is fearful of rejection and all that, you know, whatever. I know it's a real thing, but I think it's stupid, but I'm allowed to have my personal opinion. But I like I like that. You know what I'm saying? So with that, the concept though of dating apps, I think is sweet. I think the idea behind it is dope because this is all the things that I like. Here's what I look like. You know, you got some days where you're dressed up, some like this is what I look like on a regular day. You know, here's what I'm into. I can put myself out there like the real me because I should not have to worry about being judged because the only people who are into what they see and what I say are going to connect with me. It sounds really awesome to me in theory.
My struggle with online dating is even if I find someone who I have the smallest amount of interest in, it doesn't really go anywhere because like lack of conversation. Like the inability to hold an interesting conversation is so real. And it's like, I'm not about to play 20 questions with you just for the sake of saying that I met somebody online. Like, I'm not doing that either. So for me, I tend to go on them when I'm bored, but it really only lasts about 2 weeks. And then I'm back on.
Yeah. And I feel like people get so caught up in trying to say what people want to hear instead of just saying the real.
All right. That was the end of the questions that I had. But I want to make sure that I do this. So let me take this time in the show, okay? Because I want to introduce Dick, okay? I'm lying. Dick ain't a person, okay? It's not a who. It's not a who. It's a what. It's a what. It's a,
I'm like, who is back there?
A little dramatic, like, wait for it. This is Dick, okay? You know what Dick is? It is the drink in her cup.
Okay.
Talk about, okay?
Okay.
DIHC. Got it.
DIHC. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? We in here, we doing a lot of talking. Sometimes you got to wet your whistle. You know what I'm saying? Your girl might just need a little hydration. It might be water. I might be tired and need to stay up. It might be a little coffee. Or it might be a day that I need a little something extra. I want to make this interactive for the people. You know what I'm saying? Just get involved in the comments. Just let me know what you think is in her cup. What she's sipping on. Okay?
Right. Jay, I caught a little glimpse of your shirt. What's your shirt say?
Oh, hold up.
Let me see what you repping over there.
Tell me if you can read it. Can you read it?
I can't.
Hey, titties.
Okay. Listen, that's a whole conversation, okay?
Okay, I need that.
It's a whole conversation. It is my story.
It
don't matter if I'm an open book. Look, the pages is open. The pages is open, okay? You might
look at that.
You might think you know what is going on in my life and what I've been through, but you don't know really. You don't
that part.
You know what I'm saying? So let the people know. Yeah, that's
okay.
Telling when I'm ready. Okay.
I love it.
I like that.
Yeah,
I do too.
So we've had a bunch of fun and games and we've been laughing and kikiing, but I want to use this platform to talk about something serious just for a moment. Okay. There are so many people out there whose dreams like just collapse and fade. Like just it's sad, right? But you can help. You can literally help. And I'm going to tell you how. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button.
Oh my
That's it. This was serious.
I'm
okay?
over here like, what can we do?
Like,
What can we do?
Glued in, right? Like, what can I do?
What happened?
Listen, if you are here,
Let's
still watching,
see.
you've enjoyed something. So you might as well go ahead and subscribe. And while you at it, go ahead and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of the small talks in between. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? We out here together. We in this together, right?
Out here saving dreams.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's what it's all about. You know
Get
what
it.
I mean?
We here to support you, sis.
Okay.
And she appreciates it. So what I want to do now, we done gave you a little teaser talking about these awesome podcasts. So AC and Michelle, why don't you go ahead and tell the people about
Yeah, you can follow us on Instagram at @Gams_podcast, Twitter at Gams_podcast, Facebook the Gams Podcast, and get some good laughs, but get educated as well because we're smart. We are some smart
And
girls.
to back up, that is an intentional play on words. The YAMS podcast. It's an acronym for Young, Ambitious, Melanated Sisters. But we also like to talk about sex a lot. So clapping yams, throwing yams. So that was very intentional.
And so I always do throw out the disclaimer too for the saints that we do cuss a lot. So if you don't want to hear us saying, a bunch of vulgar words, then, just, I don't know. Follow us anyway, though. Listen.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Jesus needed to be where the people was that actually needed saving, okay?
You know what I'm saying? Somebody's life might actually be saved. We don't know.
Right. You bringing people to Christ, girl.
We out here.
Lene, you want to tell us about
who am I?
Question mark.
Question mark, because we find ourselves constantly asking this question with discovering new things about ourselves. Listen to us on iCloud for right now, SoundCloud for right now. Just kind of give a voice. I think that's the thing. We all have our ways of dealing with it, and sometimes holding your testimony in or hold what it is that you're going through. That doesn't help nobody. So you never know who you are going to reach, and we're just to
the people. So hopefully they will tune in and listen. So
I
right
forgot
now,
to
we're gonna give some
sign up for
takeaways.
Spotify too.
Say it again.
I forgot to mention that you can find the Gams on Spotify as well.
Spotify. Okay. So this has been an awesome discussion, ladies. I want to give everyone out there the takeaways from the show, and they're always the same. Okay. Don't take anything personal. Okay. We are not always going to agree. We're not going to have the same views and opinions, but hopefully we all heard and understood one another and know that we're just coming from a genuine place. So just keep that in mind when you're listening, throughout the episodes. The other thing is at UE, when you talk, we listen. Okay. And I want to make sure that you understand that. So you talk, that means we try to understand, we try to teach, we try to accept, we try to love, and we try to consider the other person. You talk, we listen. That's what this show is all about. Okay. So hopefully you'll take that away and use it and apply it to your lives. Okay. Make sure you get in the discussion. Let us know what you want to talk about next. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Uneducated Education Talk Show.
Damn.
Thanks for having us.